Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the only way to actually change your personal reality. And I'm going to show you how to really do that. Now, understand, and with a lot of these videos, I always explain that we don't get in life that which we want, but we always get a reflection of who we are being. So what this means is that when we get to the core of who we are and we start to change the way we identify ourselves, including the self-image for the way we view ourselves, including the emotions we feel, the actions that we take, as we begin to change ourselves from the inside out, eventually what we experience on the external begins to reflect that inner change that we have made. Now, a lot of the information in this video is going to come from listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who wrote the book called You Are the Placebo and How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself, which when I first saw the title of it, I didn't really like it. But as I started to see what the meaning underneath the book was, I really started to resonate with it. And it comes from understanding that there is a direct correlation with our personal reality and our personality. So there's a direct correlation, and our personality is a combination of how we think, act, and feel. And it's understanding that based upon those three variables, if we begin to change them, we begin to then change our personal reality. So in order for us actually to have a different type of experience or to experience more in our life, it'll have to come from a change that we make on the internal, as well as the actions that we take that solidify that change. Now, he talks a lot in his material about the idea of neuroscience, understanding how neurons that fire together wire together, and that when we are thinking in a certain way, we will always act in equalness to that thinking, and we will always feel in equalness to how we act and how we think. So it becomes a self-perpetual loop, because the more that we do those, the more consistent we do it, the more we start to hardwire ourselves for that being our natural state of being. Now, most of what we experience in our life is on autopilot. So based upon prior decisions we've made about who we are, based upon what we priorly thought, all of those actions that we take, everything that we do is on autopilot. Most of, like 95% of what we experience is based upon that autopilot. So what we need to learn to do, and the first step to this whole process, is simply becoming aware of the habits that we have, of what we're thinking, of the emotions that we're feeling. The moment that we start to actually become aware of what they are, we then automatically begin to change the wiring of our brain, because we are starting to wake it up. We are starting to see it more objectively. Rather than us being at the effect of that autopilot, we are then becoming at the cause, because we are becoming aware of it. So awareness is the first key, and the moment we start to do that, we can then start to direct where we want to go and who we want to be in a very powerful way. So we become aware of the emotions we have, we become aware of what we're thinking consistently, and then what we begin to do is direct it in a new direction. So if we consistently feel, maybe we realize that we have, in a way, an addiction to feeling like we're, suffering. And that was me growing up for years. I had a attachment to a certain identity based upon the past of stuff that I went to, and I had to really learn how to drop that, become aware of it, let it be there, and then drop it, and just simply decide who I prefer to be in the present moment. As I began to let go that attachment to the story and to all of those reference experiences, those memories, I then began to just I began to then act in accordance from how I prefer to be and who I prefer to be. So realize the moment we become aware of how we're thinking, of how we're acting, and how we're feeling, is then when we can simply decide who we prefer to be. And as we begin to decide and we begin to just choose that this is who I am now, we begin to consistently condition ourselves for a new level of being. So this is why conditioning is so important, because we've habitually done the same things repetitively over and over again, there's going to be momentum of the old self. Therefore, what we must do is start to consistently be who we prefer to be, taking the actions, thinking the thoughts that we prefer to think, feeling the emotions we want. And as we begin to do that, we actually start to condition ourselves to be in the new type of personal reality. So realize that changing our personality isn't such a negative thing. If we change how we feel, a lot of times you'll realize that when you're in a certain state of being, say you're very happy, you act very differently and you have a different part of your personality that is playing itself out than when you are feeling stressed out. You will respond to people different. You will act in accordance that is equal to that way you're thinking, that way you're feeling, that way you're acting. So as we begin to understand how much more elastic this is, we can simply decide who we prefer to be. And as I've said in other videos, one of the most powerful ways to do this is to simply take control of as you're going to bed at night. In that period of time, we have more influence over the subconscious mind because we're going from a beta to an alpha to a theta to a delta state. And the way that we're able to communicate with the subconscious mind is through the medium of feeling. So choose to view yourself in a way and see it almost like a movie screen, like you are watching yourself walk around. You can even see it through your own eyes and visualize. The brain doesn't know the difference between what you visualize and what is actually happening. What you then begin to do is wire. You begin to connect those neurons together, and the more consistently you do that, the more it starts to become who you are. They say in neuroscience that neurons that fire together wire together. So consistently do that when you go to bed at night. Consistently decide who you prefer to be. Become aware of the autopilot mind that might be running itself out. And as you begin to do those things, you'll find that because you're changing yourself on the inside, your personal reality begins to change on the outside. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.